Hello and welcome to Car Dealer Knowledge. These videos are designed to give you some great hints and tips to improve your business from the experts. I'm James Baggett, founder of Car Dealer Magazine, and today I'm chatting to Martin Dew and David Levett from online specialist Autoweb about going beyond e-commerce. Good afternoon, chaps.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for joining me. Let's get started. Martin, I'll start with you. Many dealerships are planning online sales solutions to get them back to work at the moment. What do you think they really need to be thinking about at the moment?
Well, I think in terms of how people buy cars, and by the way, I've said this multiple times, but I'm not an expert on selling cars. I'm an expert on providing tools to help our clients to do that. People buy from people and they enjoy a retail experience. Obviously, with the current situation, that's changing a little bit somewhat. I definitely see that there's a need to reduce the amount of time that a customer needs to spend in a showroom. But I wouldn't like to see dealerships take away the essence of what they are. In other words, why do you buy from us and who are you buying from? So I think that tools like video chat, reviews becoming more important, and really just thinking about what the steps are that people take to purchase a vehicle is going to be really important.
There'll be a lot of dealers sat there looking at their website thinking, where do I start? I spoke to one last week who rang me up for some advice, and he just said, I just don't know what to do with my website to get it ready for online sales. What would you say to someone like that?
Well, I think if we're talking specifically online sales in terms of end-to-end online purchase, which is one of the important channels in this, I think it's making people aware of what the process is and what happens, because otherwise it can be very confusing. We mustn't forget that prior to this, e-commerce within automotive is very much in its infancy, and the consumer may not be aware of how it works or what their rights are, or you know, et cetera, et cetera. So, as I say, I think having a clear strategy about how people purchase a car from you, both online, within the showroom, or a hybrid of the two, is very, very important. So it's all about having that strategy in place and thinking about how to do that and communicating that to the website visitor, I think.
David, I'll turn to you. What do you think the most important thing is when it comes to dealers looking at their websites, setting up their businesses for online sales?
Yeah. So if it's a pre-existing website, you have some sort of idea in terms of top-line metrics, what to expect from your website. That's a good starting point. I think it's also important to realize that we're not in the same environment that we once were. So it's a case of how are you gauging what your website is doing. So if historically you've always based your performance on conversion rates and conversion volume, naturally at the moment you can't do that. Those figures aren't available. But if we're switching to other tactics, so we're looking at social media, how social media interacts with your business. Are you hitting all the things that you need to do? So is that social, LinkedIn, if it's relevant to your business, WhatsApp, again, if it's relevant to your business. But utilizing those channels and appreciating what people are trying to do. So in times gone by, we'd look at those hard conversion figures. Now, probably things like shares, likes, particularly if we're talking social, are the important bits. Are people talking about your business? Are you engaging with your audience? Because as Martin said there, people do buy from people. So I think it's important to not make assumptions that people know how to navigate their way around your website and that you are giving them the answers that they need. And B, in terms of reviews, they are massively important to every business, not just automotive. But again, if you're getting reviews through, make sure you're acting on those, giving positive responses, and working with your customers to leverage that database or that group of customers going forwards.
I mean, reviews has been something that most dealers have often feared. There's been a lot of fear in the trade about those when they've been rolled out on different platforms. Do you think they could use those to their advantage then?
I think they can now. There was the interim block on that Google put in place on reviews to stop the negativity flowing in regarding COVID. But absolutely, I personally, when I buy anything, not just a car, it could be anything I'm buying. If it's in the online space, I look for reviews. I look for other people's opinions, whether it be on the product, whether it's on the company, to formulate an opinion. Because there are so many options out there and so many resources available to people that you need to stand out from the crowd. And the best way of doing that is to work with your customers and portray a positive message.
Martin, I'm going to turn to you on driving traffic to those sites. A lot of dealers will think, well, I've invested a lot of money in this website. I want people to actually see it. How do they get people onto their sites in the first place?
Well, at the moment, we've, during this time, should I say, we've been seeing a reduction in search volume, people typing in used car searches into Google and things like that. So it's very difficult that people must maintain a good level of visibility within search engines, but they, at the moment, probably need to look at filling up the top of the funnel, as David was saying. So, you know, we have audiences who would come from just exploring, becoming aware, down to transacting. So I think that at the moment that channels like social media are becoming more important. Paid search is always an option, but again, search volumes are down. So I would say the answer to the question is right now, and David, I don't know how you feel about this, but it's probably things like paid social and paid display advertising, I would have thought, yeah.
Yeah, the only other thing I would possibly add to that is that in due course, the dust will settle. So the point that you made there, James, about if you've invested money in your website, so, and that can be a lot of money, if we're talking about SEO, not just hosting costs, but if you spend a lot of money building your content, looking at the semantic side of things, we've obviously got a new core update coming out as well that potentially will affect it even more so. So the point being, with regards to SEO, I would say don't take your foot off the gas. Don't assume that everything is going to switch to organics, because sooner or later you're going to have to change your strategy back again to some degree. So it's a bit of a multi-touch point that we need at the moment. We need to keep the visibility available so that when the search audiences do pick up, you are there. If you take your foot off the gas now and do nothing, you don't maintain your account. You don't look at the hygiening backside of it. So if you've got lots of 404s, lots of 403s, it will affect you. So this is why, you know, from an SEO point of view, it is ongoing. It's not dip in and out when you feel like it.
The other question I get asked a lot is about content, whether dealers should invest their time and effort into content, whether they should get someone to produce it for them. What would your advice be on that front?
It's horses for courses in terms of whether you outsource that. I think it depends on who is writing the content and how good are they at optimizing content according to what Google is looking to see. So there's two sides to this. We need to consider what the audience want to read and what Google wants to read. They're not always the same thing. So back to the strategy side of things, which Martin mentioned a little while ago, having a good content strategy is absolutely key. For some time now, it has been content driven. That is only going to continue. Google are not going to do away with it. So the sooner people get on board with content, semantic content, more importantly, then all the better. So it boils down to how au fait you are with what Google are looking for, and B, how good you are at optimizing the content in the first place, because it's a niche skill.
Yeah, absolutely. Martin, on that point, and the fact that websites is a very different way for dealers to do business. They're used to customers walking in and dealing with people in the showrooms. What are they going to have to do to adapt to these changes for online sales?
Thank you. I just wanted to add something to the last question, which is use of, and again, sorry for those who have seen our talks and things, but we keep hammering home the same point, but data. So it's important to understand what your audience is engaging with through social media channels and other metrics in order to tailor the sorts of content that you put out there. So yeah, with regards to how dealerships will liaise with people online, I think for us, we're putting a lot of effort. Firstly, we've offered a lot of free solutions to our clients in terms of chatbots, live chat, etc. But for us, I think video chat is going to become a very important staple in this, to be able to negotiate deals prior to arriving in the dealership. We know e-commerce is useful, but you can't, for example, or you can't easily sell certain regulated products. You can't use your sales skill to let the customer know why they should have a warranty or a service plan, etc. So to us, that's I think where our focus is enabling that sort of remote dialogue prior to coming into the dealership.
David, what sort of tools are out there? We've mentioned a couple there, chatbots, etc., that dealers can use to improve the online shopping experience for customers.
Yeah. So there's a number of plugins. So Martin mentioned a couple there. The live chat, the chatbots, they are handy. Like Martin said, we are handing those out for free at the moment. I think the important bit, regardless of what you do, there needs to be a purpose of why you're doing it. So in terms of live chat, if you're going down the non-managed solution, i.e. you are managing your live chats yourself, then great, that's absolutely fine. But it's a similar take on the reviews. If you don't have someone there to respond to them accordingly, then probably don't do it. Don't do it just because somebody else is doing it. It needs to be something that you can manage, is part of your business, and is worthwhile. So e-commerce solutions, again, a good idea, but I think realistically, is it the be all and end all? Probably not. If you have an inventory you can add into that, then great. If you're looking at assisting your clients as best as possible. So historically, we've looked at form fills. We're looking at the bottom of the funnel stuff, test drives, brochure requests, those sorts of things. I think we have to be a whole lot more tactile now in how we're gauging performance, how we're gauging customers, and working with them. So video chat is going to be, I think, a good one going forward as well. That's probably the next big thing in terms of how clients are going to interact with dealers, especially at the moment where there is no physical showroom, no tangible location you can go to. So it's possibly the best of both worlds in terms of you have a physical representation of what you're looking at. You have the ability to talk ad hoc to somebody, but in the safety of your own home. So at the moment, that's maybe the big one. But the key thing, I think Martin mentioned it, we mention it all the time to our clients, irrespective of what you do and what plugins you use, make sure you are driving the data behind that. And then whatever decisions you make going forward are objectively defined based on that data, not what emotional drivers are behind something or what you feel you should be doing.
What new technologies are you most excited about coming up? You've mentioned a few there. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on that dealers could really look forward to?
The virtual space. I mean, for a long time we've talked about the idea of kind of the virtual reality or augmented reality. So if we're moving into the kind of video space, that I think would be a great add-on to that. Yeah? And it's a big technology piece to add that in. But I personally don't see the physical showroom disappearing. Perhaps at the moment we're doing more than we would do ordinarily because people can't physically visit them. But in terms of technologies, I would love to see the idea of augmented reality going into the video chat. I think that would be amazing. And be able to look, you know what the car looks like. It's great. You like the car, but you wouldn't be inquiring about it. But it's more about, it's almost silly things. does my family fit in the car? Does my luggage? Does the dog? Does the car fit in my garage? All these things that questions that people may have. And the idea of augmented reality, be able to push over that and give it an additional layer, I think would be amazing.
I've seen some of this technology on car launches with the manufacturers putting it in place. It's amazing, yeah. And to see that filter down to the retailer world will be incredible. I'm sure.
Be a dream.
Martin, well, is there anything that you've seen that it could be highlighted as a really good example of a dealer using social media to drive traffic to their websites? I mean, some of them probably just see it as something that the kids use. What would you say to a retailer that thinks that way?
Well, I think the key things around social media, as I mentioned before, is understanding what type of content resonates with your audience. So, of course, we want to push things like deals and latest offers, but it's got to be a bit more than that. I can think of a few examples. Perry's Motor Sales do a very good job on social media. County Garage Ford, and I'm going to get in trouble now because I've not mentioned everybody that does, and I probably should have just not said anything. Yeah, but fundamentally, it goes back to what David was just saying, is that use data. So what type of content generates engagement, and how does that engagement then filter through to booking a test drive or some other form of lead generation? And that's how you do it. There's so many automated tools around that we get asked about a lot in terms of just feeding stock into Facebook feeds and that kind of thing. But what really drives engagement is different types of content. Perhaps it's to do with your location or the type of vehicle that you sell. Obviously, certain brands will be more engaging than others. Again, Romans International, sorry to mention another one, but they obviously retail very high-end cars to get a lot of engagement. So it's just about measuring that data and seeing what type of content generates the sales leads eventually, not on the first view, but eventually.
It's probably also a little bit about personality too, isn't it? Social media is about getting the personality across, and people do engage with that. Some dealers will find that very difficult though, because they're a company. So do you hand it over to an individual and allow them to put a bit of personality into these posts?
So we've got lots of examples of large personalities within our industry, don't we, who do a very good job on social media. The larger you get, the more difficult that becomes. I'm not a massive advocate of outsourcing that type of content. I don't know what you think, David.
No, I'm not a fan at all. I think it needs to have a tone of voice for the business. I think it's a point you raised there, James. Absolutely, it is very important. And injections of humour to humanise the whole thing is invaluable. But we're back to the content piece. We're back to it is a niche skill, being able to write optimized content. Now, whether that is for a website, whether it is for a social posting, it kind of doesn't really matter. But again, it's knowing, having a strategy, an objective, what you're trying to achieve, and the idea of writing something that's perhaps, especially at the moment, I think something that has a little bit of humor to it. Something that people will engage with over and above. It's a certain car at a certain price, and it's a great deal. Yep. What else is going to make this car go viral? And the idea of a bit of humor, people like that sort of thing, especially at the moment. And you're going to get shares. You're going to get shares galore. Now, a proportion of those will be wheel kickers. People will find just the whole thing funny, but there will be in there people who are genuinely interested or captivated by that humor and interested in the car.
It's certainly like the word viral at the moment, by the way, David.
Pardon?
Word viral, not a good one.
No. Well, no, possibly, yeah. No, good point.
What'll make it pop?
Probably best to avoid that one, but you're right. Social media is definitely a difficult nut to crack. What about your tips for digital marketing when it comes to car dealerships? How can they best use that to get the most out of their websites and their business going forward?
I think it's only fair that you answer that one, David.
Okay, I wasn't sure whether you were going to say anything. Yeah, so in terms of the digital marketing space, we've touched on a lot of these points already. So we are aware that organic traffic is going down. That's absolutely fine. You know, we've seen it. We can't force people to to organically search for sites. So it is what it is. Towards the end of March, we saw a crossover between organic and social with a lot of our clients. So in terms of the digital marketing space, again, I think it's something we've mentioned a few times already. It's having the data in place, making decisions based on that data. So for some people, depending on what it is you're doing, the social arena may well work for you. It may pick up the slack. Paid, again, may well pick up the slack. But the thing with paid ads, your generic paid ads in Google, as Ryan said, if you're not searching for something in the first place, are you going to see those ads? So possibly not. But the main thing being at the moment, in terms of the digital marketing arena, is looking at the multi-channel approach and understanding how those channels, not independently, but how those channels are working together and how they leverage and how the audience leverages those channels to work their way down through the funnel. So social post may well get people in the top of the funnel and drive people through. There may well be some leveraging off that in terms of people going to the website, finding, and it might be a completely different car they find. But the point about digital marketing has always been the case is you've got to be present to be found in the first place. So at the moment, presence is more likely going to be found in the social arena than it would be found organically.
Okay, thank you for that. Just finally, and I won't direct this at either of you. You can jump on whoever wants to answer it. For those people that don't know your business, can you sum up what you do and why they should come to you?
Do you want to take this one, Mike?
Well, that's probably one for me, yeah. So, yeah, we've been going for 16 years. We're a full-service digital marketing agency, and we work exclusively within the automotive sector. So we have clients ranging from small independent dealers through to dealer groups, A100s, and manufacturers as well. I suppose really what sets us apart, we think, is our data-driven approach, which hopefully you've understood from this meeting. We don't gloss things up and say things anecdotally. We base everything that we recommend to our clients based on a proper statistical model. So that means a big enough sample size and big enough indicators to say what is the right thing to do and what is the wrong thing to do. And yeah, we have a really big focus on customer support as well. Around about half of our company is employed in client-facing roles, so be that a service desk or account management. Yeah, as I say, I think we would call ourselves a technical generalist digital marketing agency who happens to work in automotive. So a lot of the stuff that we recommend test, should I say, can come from other industries as well. Myself and David have both worked together at a different agency in the past, who were a generalist agency working with fashion brands, technology, etc., all the way to e-commerce. So a lot of what we do is a bit not from the automotive sector, but we are fans of the automotive sector. And that's what we live and breathe. And all our clients are car dealers or manufacturers. So that's us.
Can I just add something to that? I think just a very short piece. I think the advantage we have is we're big enough to provide experience, provide knowledge, and a level of solidity for our clients. But I think we're small enough as well to be flexible. We don't have a product that we shoehorn clients into. We have a range of products, and we will move those and maneuver them around to fit our clients' requirements.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I think you've summed it up perfectly, and I really appreciate you giving us the time to help dealers go beyond e-commerce. So thank you very much indeed. So if you'd like to find out more about what the guys do, visit autowebdesign.co.uk. That's autowebdesign.co.uk, or you can call them on 01757 211 700. For more car dealer knowledge videos like this one, visit cardealermagazine.co.uk, click on the knowledge tab at the top of the homepage, and you'll see all the latest. Thank you very much for joining us, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.